Solar Careers Programme is a key action from the government and industry solar roadmap, which is to reach 60 gigawatts of solar by 2030. How it's evolved? I'd say since its launch, we've become far more crystalline, and what I mean by that is clear in its vision. And that's to guide every person possible into solar careers. And we do that in three ways. So the first one is we promote career opportunities to key audiences. So we're very much focused on deployment and maximising the amount of people that we can get qualified and into those roles. So that's to raise awareness of the roles that we have. So that's number one. Number two is to support recruitment in the area as well. So not just raising awareness, so support recruitment, so to get people into jobs and to grow the workforce. And the third part of that is to promote training opportunities, so to keep the workforce upskilled and current. So if we do those three things, then we are meeting the aims and the vision of the Solar Careers Programme. With the target of 60 gigawatts by 2030, how do we measure the success of the Solar Careers Programme by then? And so in numbers, it looks like approximately an uplift of around 15,000 increase of people working in the industry. Our industry needs to grow to 43,000 jobs. So at the moment we're around 20,000 people in the workforce currently, and by 2035 we need to get to 43,000, so it's an uplift of 23,000. When designing the strategy for the Solar Careers Programme, so it's quite a difficult forecast to make because there's so many different factors as to what could stimulate that amount of growth. And what I mean by that is currently, if there aren't the right solar and storage specific apprenticeships, how are we going to educate them in the right way? Or if that isn't there at the moment, what sort of career maps are there for people to know how to navigate through the different qualifications to get there? And we say, well, that's going to take quite a few years to be able to put those things in place. So it's almost, you look at it and you say, well, you need to be business as usual for year 1, 2 and 3. Sort of at year 1 and 2, we're starting to make some progress. So anyway, so started to work back, and what it resulted in was looked at it and we said, our targets, we would look to support the growth of the industry by 500 in year 1, 2025. 2026, we feel that we could go to an extra 1,000, so at 1,500, and then 1,500 by 2027. So that gets an extra 3,000. From there, you could be in a position to start to ramp. Lots of this infrastructure that you need to grow the industry would start to be in place. Then you could get to 2,000, 2028. 4,000, 2029, 6,000, 2030. That gets you to the 15,000 that I was explaining. So that for the Solar Careers Programme as our targets that we can monitor to say how are we supporting the growth of the industry. That is what the runway looks like. We would be aiming for the industry to grow by 15,000 more by 2030. One of our biggest challenges that we face is skilled workers in our industry, in our most in-demand or priority roles. Working at Solar Energy UK, we are in a position whereby we can mobilise and bring together all the different sectors of the industry, domestic, commercial, utility scale. We can bring businesses together that do different types of functions as well, and services, and come together and they can highlight what are their most in-demand roles that they need to grow and they may need support with fulfilling. And for us to reach our targets, those priority roles need to come mainly from deployment. Once you can fulfill your deployment side, so installers, engineers, those sorts of roles, off the back of that, then your supply chain comes in. So our biggest challenge to reach our installation targets essentially are to have a skilled workforce, and we've defined some of those within these skills steering groups of the business leaders from different parts of the industry. In domestic and commercial, we need installers, and well as design engineers and project managers are some of the main roles that we need. And for utility scale, it's operations and maintenance site technicians. These are the most in-demand roles that we need to grow the industry. And Once we can start to do that at scale, then the rest of the roles come. Once we start to increase the workforce in these particular roles, then the rest will follow on afterwards. What is new this year is from that skills steering group, they have created standardized job descriptions. So they've been agreed across businesses. So for example, a small scale designer installer role has been agreed across businesses of what the roles and responsibilities would be, which qualifications you need. And so we can then begin to promote these as these are the most in-demand roles. So we've created job descriptions, routes to competence as well, and as part of that, a career map for coming into the industry. So that's been really, really helpful. So Solar Energy UK have been making those, and then that then helps our initiative, which I'm heading up, Solar Careers UK. We can then use that to mobilize an audience that may be interested in coming into the industry, and we use that. So in terms of the innovation, I would say that we're trying to adopt and use the latest technologies and advancements that we have available at our disposal. So we're building a solar talent pool. And the reason we do this is we may have somebody that visits our new website and they're really engaged. They've found a role that they may be interested in. We're then relying upon them coming back to that website, checking for the updates. That's one way. Or for example, they could come to Recruitment Zone today and maybe they get an interview, maybe they don't. Maybe they get an interview but they don't get the job. And then they leave these doors. So how can we then continue that engagement? Because they wanted to come into the industry. So what we then do is, we ask them to register their interest, and when we create a talent pool of people that we can communicate directly to, and we can give them all of this guidance over time. At this point, we have 7,200 people that are interested in joining the industry, which we've grown in a short space of time, and we are still refining everything, and we will continue to do as much as we can to meet our vision, which is to guide every person possible into a solar career. Firstly, if we look at Recruitment Zone, that's a feature. Over these next 3 days, there'll be over 250 people, candidates that will come and meet businesses that have live job vacancies for introductory interviews. So for us, it's really, really important because that's 250 more people that we can promote the different types of jobs that we have in the industry, and the different technologies, the different services that we have, and why it can be an attraction. And for Installer Training Hub, the third part of what we aim to deliver, which is promoting training opportunities and upskilling the workforce. We've got 9 businesses in there that are putting on training workshops throughout the 3 days. There'll be over 2,500 installers that will go and have an engagement with approximately 20-minute workshops, practical installer demos across. We have ground mount installations, we've got domestic and commercial mount and module installations, we have battery and inverter technologies, and we have MCS as well, with the latest fire classifications and also how to be certified. So firstly, I would really want to thank Solar and Storage Live for working in partnership to put these features on. Without us working together and putting these on and putting them together each year and providing that platform as well, it really wouldn't be possible.